The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Rodgers issued a blunt statement about potentially playing in the preseason with the Jets against the Giants. We'll talk about that, the latest with Haason Reddick, and yesterday's epic offensive practice. It's the Jake Asman Show. Primetime from Let's Talk Jets Radio joins us, so let's hit it and get it started.
Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
The Jets win the Super Bowl. We on top of the damn universe. Our championship will mean more than any of them cheating Belichick ass Patriots.
You ain't lying there.
We got the best defense in the league. We got the best quarterback in the league. I don't give a damn what nobody say. Don't nobody want to see the Jets. Jets.
The king has spoken. The king has spoken.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Brees Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jets fans. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a great Wednesday so far. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It helps us continue to grow. And like the video. That takes 2 seconds. Click the thumbs up icon and boom, you have helped support this channel. Spread the word. We talk Jets each and every day on the show. Also, by now you know, but let me say it again. Spread the word. Saturday night, New York City, T-Squared Social. We're going to party. Jets-Panthers watch party. Free to attend. RSVP with the link I have posted in the description for the video you are watching right now. We're going to have 200-something people there for a damn preseason game. The Asmaniacs, you guys are the absolute best. Party starts at 6:30. Kickoff is at 7. Make sure you're there before kickoff because we have $4 shots, JETS, green tea shots coming your way for $4 if you get there before kickoff. And then every time the Jets score a touchdown, it also goes back to just $4. So I can't wait to be there. It's going to be a blast. Thank you to everyone who has already RSVP'd, and I look forward to seeing so many of you in New York City on Saturday. All right, joining us right now to talk all things New York Jets is someone who sat at the Jet facility yesterday and watched Aaron Rodgers and company have arguably their best practice of the summer. Ladies and gentlemen, from Let's Talk Jets Radio, we bring on Kevin Sirkin. Kevin, what's going on, man?
What's up, Jake? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, my pleasure. And, let me say this. Even though the Jets told you that you couldn't film plays anymore, right? They said, what you're doing is a disgrace. How dare you? Don't worry. People in the crowd still filmed it anyway. So I know you were worried, but don't worry.
That's all I care about.
Still came through.
That's all I care about. As long as the fans are able to see what's going on, I feel like that's what it's all about. You got like the limited tickets now. Not everybody can make it out there. So Nate did a great job. I know a bunch of other fans were posting some videos. So shout out to Jets Nation.
No doubt. No doubt. So you were there yesterday, and we'll certainly get into that practice. But I want to start with some comments that were made yesterday when Aaron Rodgers spoke with the Jets beat reporters after practice. So I got 2 clips we will play and then react to here. Rodgers is asked about the preseason and whether or not he thinks he needs to go out there and play.
Preseason is not what it used to be. It's to see if young guys, once the lights go on and the pads go on and the tackling happens, if they can show up or if they don't. So what's there to gain? Just going out there and being back on the field in a situation where you could get hit. But the way we get after our defense today, I think the next few days, a few times we go against them, I'm going to be worried about getting hit as well.
Okay, so he makes that little comment at the end there, a little joke when asked about the preseason. So then the reporters followed up. They asked him, well, what about playing on MetLife again for the first time since your injury? What about playing with so many members of your new offensive line?
It's been obviously a year now. You got some new offensive line. You guys just for you to have some whether it's a series or two, for example.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah, preseason it's not real football.
Kevin, your thoughts on that? Aaron Rodgers basically completely dismissive of the idea he needs to play in the preseason at all. My stance has always been whatever Aaron wants to do, that's what the Jets should do. If he says, I need the preseason, I want to go out there, you play him. If he says, I'm good, I feel healthy, why risk it if he thinks he doesn't need it? What were your thoughts on those comments?
No, like you said, it's not real football. You're not showing your true offense. I think last year I wanted to see him for a few series because it kind of made sense last year with the new environment, new team, new stadium, new uniform, just kind of get those first out of the way. This year, I don't see what's to gain from it. Like the risk reward of having him out there, I just don't think is worth it. You have the joint practice coming up tomorrow with Carolina. You got another one with the Giants next week. You still got 2 more weeks of training camp left. To me, you can get him all the reps that you need in training camp. I do not want to see him on the MetLife turf in a preseason game that means absolutely nothing. It's just not worth it.
Well, to me, it's like it's worth it if he thinks he needs it. But if he's like, it's not real football, I know my body, I'm ready to go, I'm getting plenty of reps this summer. You mentioned the joint practices. He'll play in the one tomorrow against Carolina. Yesterday, Robert Saleh said it was their most intense practice of the summer. You were there. They ran about 3/4 worth of plays, he said, and he looked amazing. So if he thinks he's good to go, then all right, that's how I view it. Like, you've deferred to Rodgers on so much already these last 2 years. Why would you stop now with something as silly as the preseason if he thinks he doesn't need it?
Yeah, if he wanted it, it's a completely different conversation. If the offense has been struggling, for the first 3 weeks of training camp, maybe it's a different conversation. But the offenses look good, especially in the second half of practice yesterday. I'm sure we'll get into that. But yeah, it comes down to what he wants. Like you said, if he's not interested in doing it, there's no reason to force it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And, look, based on what we have seen from this offense, they've looked really good. And it's year 2 in this system. And I think to Saleh's credit, this shows his evolution as a coach. They've done way more at these practices this summer than they've done in his previous 3 years. Nathaniel Hackett spoke this morning about that when they made him available. They've allowed Rodgers and this offense to get way more reps in 11-on-11 scenarios than they had last year. So they're better prepared to start the year than they were at this point last year.
Yeah, it honestly seems like there's a better rhythm with the offense, just coming in and out of the huddle, just letting Rodgers do his thing. It looks good, man. I like where they're at right now. Again, I don't see the need for him to be out there preseason. But.
All right, as far as the practice yesterday, we'll get into that. We'll save the Reddick stuff after that because I'm still just annoyed by where we are with that. Your thoughts on what stood out? We know Rodgers was lighting it up. I showed a bunch of plays yesterday thanks to Nate, Nate, and the Jets themselves posted a bunch of highlights on their social media. Your thoughts on what you in particular saw? What was your biggest takeaway?
Biggest takeaway, defense looked good early. Offense looked much better in the second half. And you got a lot of depth guys that I think are really starting to emerge where I want to see some of these guys playing with the ones a little bit. Like Irv Charles, he had a phenomenal day yesterday. Is he somebody that can maybe push Brownlee a little bit? Like, what's the drop off between Brownlee and Charles? We know Charles is probably making the roster as, the Justin Hardy of last year. So I think that's something to watch. I was a little disappointed watching McDonald and Clemens. They seem like they're just getting bodied on almost every rep by Moses and Max Mitchell. Like they were getting the better of them on pretty much every rep that I was watching. So guys like Eric Watts, Leonard Taylor, Tack McKinley, who had a big day, I'd like to see those guys start to get a little bit more work with the ones just to see where they fit in.
Well, I think it's important to kind of see that, right? Because if you're telling me McDonald and Clemens really aren't doing enough to stand out, and there's other guys behind them on the twos who are, well, you got to give them a chance just so we get an idea. Is it because they're going up against really good offensive tackles, or is it because they're just not good enough and maybe the guys behind them can push the quote-unquote starters till Reddick's back?
Yeah, and in the second half of the practice yesterday, McKinley had a nice rush off the edge, got around Moses. So it seems like they're starting to work him in a little bit more with that. But yeah, McDonald, for whatever reason, just it seems like he's got that one spin move, or it's just the speed off the edge. And Moses, obviously being a veteran, he knows what he's trying to do. So it just seems like once an offensive lineman locks their hands on him, he doesn't have a way to get off it. He doesn't have that strength yet. You notice the difference with Jermaine Johnson year 1 to year 2. You saw that physicality in his game. I don't see that from McDonald yet.
That to me is why, as much as I still think McDonald could be a good player, I don't think saying he's going to take the Jermaine Johnson year 2 leap is going to happen, because a year ago at this time, Jermaine Johnson was one of the better players on the field. It felt like every practice. I don't know if there's been a practice this summer where the takeaway has been, wow, Will McDonald was incredible today.
No. He had some moments in the joint practice against the Commanders, but other than that, I mean, he really hasn't stood out at all. I think he can have a role on third downs. You know, I'm not expecting him to be Bryce Huff, but I think he can provide some speed off the edge, but he's not going to be Bryce Huff. He's not going to fill those shoes.
Let's talk about Olu Fashanu, because yesterday they put him out there with the starters at right tackle. He's been the guy filling in for Tyron when he has the rest days, or even second half of this practice yesterday. Tyron Smith got his reps in. That's it. You're good. You're going to the Hall of Fame. We don't need you out there. So, you know, they're mixing and matching to try and keep him fresh. But Olu now is being cross-trained to essentially be the sixth man on the offensive line, not just at left tackle, but right tackle as well. You, of course, were there. What did you think watching Olu play right tackle in team drills?
I thought he looked good. Had one rep against Tack McKinley where it looked like McKinley beat him off the snap, had a good first step, and then he recovered well, bought Tyrod some extra time. But he's looked good, and I like the fact that they're working him in at right tackle. You have two veteran tackles right now that are both on one-year contracts that do have some injury history. So you invested a 10th overall pick in the guy. I think he's clearly the best pass protector that we have, you know, aside from Tyron Smith. So I'd like to see him out there. Obviously, if anything happens, hopefully it doesn't. But I think he's ready to go.
What were your thoughts just on this offensive line? Maybe not even just yesterday, but you kind of watched so many of these practices up close. Are you? Well, this is a silly question. Obviously, you're more confident in the O-line this year than what happened last year. But like, what's your level of just confidence in this line actually being, you know, not a weakness, but maybe a strength for the team?
I think it's going to be a strength. I think they want to be a ground and pound first team. You saw the clips on One Jets Drive. I'm sure you watched that. But I think the offensive line, assuming they stay healthy, can legitimately be a strength of this team. I know we have Rodgers, the new toy. We all want to see him throw it, but I don't think they have to. But now it's like you can kind of dare teams. You want to throw 8 in the box like you did with Zach Wilson? Fine. Rodgers will make the adjustments at the line. But I think this is a team that's going to be ground and pound. You got Braylon Allen that's going to be coming in fourth quarter, running people over. So I'm excited for it. Killer beast. Let's go.
Also, One Jets Drive. Shout out to the Jets media team. They used my voice in one of the clips last night.
I didn't even know. I was just watching it like 2 hours ago. I didn't even notice that. I think it's a little bit.
It's around the 19-minute mark when they're talking about Mike Williams being off the PUP list. They use my voice to set it up. They're like, Mike Williams has been cleared for takeoff. He's off the PUP list. I said something like that. So thanks to the Jets. Appreciate them. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. There's 250 of you Asmaniacs watching live right now. Let's get those likes up over 100. It's easy. Click the thumbs up. It helps the channel. We're always looking for more Asmaniacs on YouTube, like Mother Effin' Chew. He's paving the way. He is gifting a channel membership. Chew, baby.
Chew, mother effing chew.
And the membership that Chew gifted went to listener Justin Harris. So thank you, Chew. Congrats, Justin. Consider paying it forward to your fellow Asmaniac. It costs just $5 to give someone a channel membership. All right, we'll keep it rolling here. Let's get to the Reddick stuff. I watched your guys' show with you and Tyson the other night. I watched your follow-up video the next morning where you're still like, man, I don't know what's going on here. There's so many different angles from this. But where we stand right now, what are your thoughts on where we go from here?
I mean, if you're mad at Reddick, I think you got to be mad at the Jets. If you're mad at the Jets, I think you also have to be mad at Reddick. It's hard to blame just one side. I think from the Jets' perspective, the red flags were obviously there. He turned down the contract before the trade. Other teams said no to the demands that he had. You know, this wasn't going to be an easy fix. And also considering it was a 2026 conditional pick, I didn't really see the urgency to try to do this deal, you know, before they had a contract in place. But for Reddick also, like for him to not show up to minicamp, you start the relationship off on a bad note. So like for me, it's hard to blame the Jets for not negotiating when he's not in the building. And apparently, you know, according to all reports, they haven't made a new offer to him since back in March. And I don't really blame them. Like he's got to walk through those doors, show some good faith, and then I think the negotiations can get rolling a little bit.
What annoys me though about that is, okay, you don't want to do a deal with him because he's not in the building. You don't want to set a precedent that you hold out if you don't show up in the last year of your contract. We eventually pay you. I get that. All right, then go sign Michael Carter to an extension then and prove that's actually the case. Because to me, I don't buy it. Like you see this in the NFL all the time. You acquire a player who previously wanted a new deal from the team they were on. You work it out before the deal is finalized. This has never happened where you required a player who everyone knew wanted a new deal, and you never gave him a new deal. So, you know, I think Reddick's camp has handled this terribly. I think he should show up, but I'm also not going to sit here and defend the Jets because this is something that only happens to the Jets.
Exactly. And look at what's going on with Ayuk right now. I mean, he's making sure his contract situation is handled before he agrees to anything anywhere else. So, but like for Reddick also, why give the presser and act like everything was okay? Like, that's what I don't understand. I know it's just words. Maybe he just wanted to make it sound like everything was fine, but like, why make it seem like everything's okay if you really had a legitimate gripe with your contract? That's,
What's your take on those saying, we don't need Haason Reddick?
I think the defense can still be good without him. I don't know if they're going to be a top 5 defense without him, but I mean, he's obviously a game changer. His numbers, speak for themselves, and I don't think they have anybody that can replace what he can do. And, I saw the tweet from Samini about, 3 of your top 5 guys as far as snaps from last year are not on the roster right now with Quentin Jefferson, JFM, and Huff. So you got a lot of production that you need to replace with guys like Clemens and McDonald that are still relatively unproven.
To me, they could be a very good defense without Haason Reddick. They could be a playoff team without Haason Reddick. If you want to win a championship, meaning you're going to have to go through the AFC, meaning you're probably going to have to at some point face Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Duh. You know which player could help you win those type of games? Haason Reddick, who has the ability to wreck that type of game and force a huge turnover, a huge sack with the game on the line. That's where you need him. If you're trying to win it all, this guy's a big piece to that.
No, absolutely. But like for right now, the fines are already at what, like $3 million? We go another 2 weeks. He misses 2 more preseason games. You're up towards $5 million. Like that's 33% of his contract already. So how much further would the Jets have to go to offset what he's already lost? That's why I don't know like where the situation is going to end.
And I could see him showing up at this point right before the regular season starts, like that Monday where you have to show up to get your game check for the upcoming week. I could see him showing up. He had not been in the building all offseason other than on April 1st when he was there to take his physical and did the press conference. He doesn't know the defense necessarily. He doesn't know any of his teammates. Even if he shows up, he's not playing in week 1 then. So that's the last move he could pull. He sticks it to the Jets by big primetime game against the defending NFC champions. Well, I'm there, but you're not going to play me, obviously. So there you go. I can't play.
Yeah, and again, he'd be showing up just to receive a contract. Yep. And you likely wouldn't be getting the best version of Haason Reddick either.
Exactly. And that's my big thing with all this too. Like, yeah, maybe the Jets, they quote unquote win the negotiation because I do think Reddick's going to show up at some point because he's not sitting out all year. His contract would toll over and he wants to be paid. Like, he's not going to go full Le'Veon Bell here. And the rules are different now with the CBA from when Le'Veon pulled that. Jet fans, we know it too well. Now, let me say this though. Like what you alluded to is my biggest fear. Like, yeah, you win the negotiation, but what version of Reddick are you getting? Are you getting the guy in Philly? You're going to get a diminished player because that also doesn't help your team either.
No, yeah, if he's unhappy, if he's not motivated, if he doesn't have that long-term security that he's looking for, I mean, you can't expect to get the best version of him. You can only hope that if he's still playing on that 1-year contract, the opportunity to put up those numbers again and hit free agency next year, maybe that would be enough motivation for him.
Yeah, I just, I'm seeing comments here from someone I love, Mr. Bonesy. He goes, he needs to perform to get paid. I think he's going to come out with his ass on fire. Bonesy wrote before that, why wouldn't we get the best Haason Reddick? Well, put yourself in his shoes, right? He feels like he's wronged, whether we agree with it or not. In his shoes, his mind, his agent's telling him, hey, they're going to pay you. You can't play on your current deal. You're being wronged. Eventually he shows up, even if he knows he needs to play great to get paid. He doesn't love his bosses. He doesn't know his teammates. He's like, think about yourself. If you get thrown into a new job and like you're unhappy with your employers, like, yeah, it makes sense to give it your all, give it your best. But like mentally, are you going to be able to do that? Not everyone can.
Yep. And you also worry about it being a distraction too, if he's not happy. Right.
Yeah. All I could tell you is, when we've seen this with other players who like show up, like Chris Jones last year. Yeah, he was awesome after he missed week 1. Nick Bosa had a huge holdout. He eventually got paid. He was the defensive player of the year running that same season. But all those guys were on their existing teams. They knew their teammates. They knew the scheme. They had familiarity with everything. This is a brand new scenario for Haason Reddick. He doesn't know anyone on the Jets.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last time. Also, you have other guys right now that are still on 1-year contracts like DJ Reed and Conklin that could be deserving. You mentioned Michael Carter. Like all these guys deserve an extension. They're in the building right now. They're playing on their deals. And you have other veterans too, like Mosley, Tyron Smith, Rodgers. They've reworked team-friendly contracts. So like for a guy that hasn't put on the uniform yet to be doing all this, I know Salah says it's not a distraction right now. But again, if he shows up and he's not the best version of himself or a minor bruise becomes a 2 to 3 week injury, that does become a distraction.
Completely agree. Today's Jake Asman show is presented by my friends at Underdog Fantasy. Folks, football season, it is finally freaking here. I cannot wait to start picking all the games for Underdog Fantasy, higher or lower stat projections, drafting a bunch of daily fantasy teams, whether I'm just watching a random Thursday night game or a Monday night game. You could draft a daily fantasy team for that. You could do so many different things with Underdog. It's an awesome, awesome app. They've been with us now for just about a year, which is great. Use promo code Asman if you've never tried it before, and you'll get a 50% deposit match up to $250. That's promo code Asman. Download the Underdog Fantasy app so you actually could see what I'm talking about. I promise you, it is worth your while. If you're a baseball fan, you could always make your Underdog picks for baseball every night. Your boy had Aaron Judge and Juan Soto with some of my picks. That hit. So shout out to the Yankees for not losing to the disgraceful White Sox. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Asman. Pick your sport. They have it. Check it out. Once again, download the app and use promo code Asman when you sign up. Let's get back to the conversation right now with Kevin. We'll open up the Gustbuster hotline as well if you want in on the conversation. Johnny Blaze with a comment here. Martinez is a keeper. He has the potential to be really good. I bring this up because he looked good in the one preseason game. I've only been to 3 practices, though. Kevin, you've been to way more. What have been your thoughts on Adrian Martinez?
I thought he's looked pretty good. His mobility surprised me a little bit in the preseason game. Had a nice, what should have been touchdown pass yesterday. I think Brownlee was the one that dropped it in the end zone. Problem is, I don't know if you can afford to keep 3 quarterbacks on this roster. I mean, I'm writing off Jordan Travis. I don't think we're going to see him at all this year, but I feel like it's almost a battle between Peasley and Martinez for a practice squad spot instead of the number 3 spot. I don't think they're carrying 3.
I agree. I think if they could get him on the practice squad, that's where they would stash him.
Yep. And if it gets to that point anyway, I mean, the season's probably over anyway. So
yeah, I mean, if at any point Adrian Martinez has to play a game for this team, I mean,
yeah, you're probably trading for a veteran anyway at that point, just to salvage what you can.
I don't want to think about that.
Let's not go there.
Oh, the pain. All right, let's get to some calls, ladies and gentlemen. We mentioned his comment earlier. We'll give him a chance to respond. His name is. Hold on. I almost forgot to play this. His name is Bonesy.
The only thing better than all them shoes is Joey D, 'cause he totally rules. Jake, my brother, I'm high as a kite. I love everybody. Damn, this show is crazy.
Bonesy.
Jake, my brother. Kev, what's up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Rocking my ass maniacs, getting ready for Saturday.
Oh, show off the shirt. Let's go. You got to be my male model. Hey, yesterday Snowball showed off his softball-themed as Maniac shirt, and we had like 3 orders right away. So let's see who's the better male model, you or Snowball.
I think Snowball's got me, but I'm rocking. Me with my black T-shirts. Now I got my as Maniacs in the rotation. So I'm very hyped.
I love it. It looks good.
Yo, man, I heard you right away. I was watching One Jets Drive. I was waiting for you to be like, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Williams. That was awesome. Shout out to them for getting you in there.
I appreciate it, man.
One Jets Drive was dope, man. Watching our wide receivers coach, Sean Jefferson, talking about Garrett, that shit had me hyped, man. He's a dude. Like they're saying, he's a dude. And it's just so – the offensive line, too, I love that that's going to be a strength. We had a lot of misfortune last year with the backups having to play, but now that whole entire – backup line is our backups, and we have some dogs up front bringing in, the big 3. And I don't know, man. I'm very hyped about that. I'm not, I'm a JD truther, so I'm not like taking his side completely because he did take a gamble. This was a gamble. It wasn't a big gamble in my opinion in terms of like what we had to pay for, but we kind of knew going in, like he was taking a chance that if we can get Haason in there at a good price, you're not getting that type of production at that price. Nobody wanted Haason at the time, and I know people will say we should have kept Huff, but listen, if there's one thing we know about this coaching staff and regime is they could find talent and they can notice talent on the defensive line and the defensive side of the ball. It's happened numerous times. Every time we've had to replace a Sheldon Rankins, or now we're going to we replace Quinn and Jefferson with Kinlaw. Watch, in 1 month, we're all going to be talking about how Kinlaw, how the hell did we get this guy? How is he wrecking shit like this next to Quinn? I just feel like Haason, how does he go back on his word? Joe Douglas took a shot hoping that the guy is true to his word, and I feel like the agent got in his ear, and here we are. And I also think, like, if our defensive staff wasn't pounding the table for Huff to stay, that says something. There's something there. I still want to see him a 3-down back dominating Philly before I could say that it was a bad move. And last thing I'll say about Reddick, I just feel like when you say, like, just get it done, right? I kind of disagree. You got players like DJ Reed, Conklin, Carter, who aren't on Haasan's level of production and talent. But how could you set an example by paying someone? Imagine we had to give Haason like $24-25 million for a 2-year extension and pay him all that money without even seeing him gel with the fellas or show us that he's got the dog in him.
But don't make the trade, Bonesy. That's the point. Don't make the trade. The Giants traded for Brian Burns. They paid him before he met anyone. That's why this is unprecedented. And like Douglas didn't give up a lot to get Reddick from a draft pick standpoint. It's a 3rd-round pick 3 drafts from now. But he was your Bryce Huff replacement. And they just let JFM go for nothing. And I think JFM's a little overrated by this fan base, but he's a good player. So it's not just the draft pick compensation. That's not that relevant. I'm not upset that he gave up a 3rd in 2026. It's the other things that came with bringing in Reddick.
Yeah, they ultimately couldn't afford paying JFM because of the Reddick trade.
Right.
So that's what bothers me the most. Yeah, you lost out on 3 of your top producers on your defensive line, and now the guy that was supposed to take over the most production from Huff and JFM, he's still not even here yet. And I don't even know what his word was. That's the whole thing. Like, What was his word before the trade? That's what I'd like to know. What did they actually talk about? Because all the reports that are out there now, like, he wasn't happy. Like, other teams turned down whatever, like, they weren't giving what he wanted. So I don't know what's going on with this situation. I don't know what they talked about before the trade happened. Like, did he actually vocalize that he was unhappy? What were his demands? Because other teams apparently weren't willing to meet his price. So it's so strange, man.
It's just only the Jets, man. And like, I'll defend the Jets when they get unfairly ripped nationally, or people are just like blinded by, Aaron Rodgers hatred because, oh my God, he didn't get the vaccine. But this stuff is like, you can't defend the Jets. Like, I'm not saying that Haason Reddick is not also wrong. He is, but this is a preventable situation. In an all-in year, you should have made sure that you got a deal done before the deal was made, like every other team in the NFL has done. Look at all the trades this offseason alone. L'Jarius Sneed, new deal right away. Brian Burns, new deal right away. Stephon Diggs with the Texans, new deal right away. Joe Mixon with the Texans, new deal right away. So Joe Douglas has done a lot of good, but he doesn't get a pass for this because this only happens to the Jets.
That's why I'd love to know, like, was there any talk about him being in the building for minicamp and the OTAs? Because if that was actually discussed and they expected him to walk through those doors for that, he might have a leg to stand on. If he was there for minicamp and OTAs, nothing got worked out, I could almost understand his holdout once we got to training camp if nothing got done then. But the fact that he didn't show up, he started the relationship that way, I don't blame the Jets for kind of digging their heels in here.
Yeah, like that to me is fair. And how they're handling it from this point on, I think is the right approach. Because like, you're not trading him. Eventually he needs to play. You had the leverage, use it. But like, my issue is more like everything leading up to this. Because I gave Douglas the benefit of the doubt when the deal was made. I'm like, obviously they worked something out with his contract that's coming. Because that's how it always works. Like, people, I had one listener who's like giving me a hard time on Twitter. You were so excited when the team got Reddick. I remember you did that show from the airport. I'm like, yeah, I did, because he's a game wrecker. He's a tremendous player. And I assumed, obviously wrongly, as a Jet fan, you should never assume anything. You make an Asman out of you and me. I assume, though, as a Jet fan, well, if they're acquiring Haason Reddick, obviously Joe Douglas, who came from the Eagle organization and is very close with the Eagles general manager, understood what it would take to get Haason Reddick a new contract. So shame on us for thinking the Jets would know how to handle a conventional thing that happens in the NFL all the time.
It seemed unfathomable that they wouldn't have discussed that prior to the trade. So I don't get it.
All we have from Reddick is these comments here on April 1st, which I think giant April Fool's Day joke is in the works here.
How do you look at it? Is it you're on the last year of your contract? You said, it's a business. Is this a place you hope is a long-term home? Are you looking at this like a 1-year situation, or how do you believe there's a chance you guys could get an extension done?
All options are open. Right now, currently just worried about being here, meeting everybody that's in the building today. Contractual stuff, I'm leaving that up to my agent and Joe to figure out. But whatever happens, I'm going to be happy for her. I'm going to give my all, no matter what. That's just who I am as a person. So no matter how it goes, how many years, I'm going to be here for however long I'm here for, and I'm going to give the team, the fans, everything that I have.
April
Clearly
Fools. April Fools. I mean,
clearly
it's
not.
annoying. It's annoying. And look, maybe he shows up, they redo his deal, he's out there week 1, and we're going to forget all about it if he sacks Brock Purdy. But all I'm going to say is, when do these things ever go best case scenario for the Jets?
Never.
I mean, they don't. And like you could say, well, Revis in 2010, but like, once again, Revis at least had been with the Jets. Like he was a homegrown player. We knew what he was like. And as good as Reddick is, Darrelle Revis, we knew was the best player at his position in his absolute prime, coming off one of the greatest seasons an NFL corner has ever had. Reddick was very good last year. You can't even say it's the same thing as Revis.
No, absolutely. That 2009 season from Revis was one of the best defensive seasons I've ever watched from any player, not just a Jet, from any football player.
Yeah, it's just brutal. All right, more of your calls right now. We're going international for this next one. Jay, you're on with Jake and Kevin this morning. Hello, Jay, but it might be the afternoon in Israel.
It actually is. It's 6 o'clock here, and so hope you guys are doing well. I've been a Jets fan for real since the signing of Joe Namath. I'm Joe Beningo's age, and I am used to lots of teasing of thinking that the organization finally has it together and we are finally functional and have gotten out of the dysfunctional age. I have a daughter and I have family in Houston. In fact, I bought a onesie for my new grandson.
I saw that. Thank you, Jay.
No worries. And he proudly will be wearing it as soon as he just a little more growth will grow into it. But I've watched, and you kind of got me into it a little bit from tuning into the Wheelhouse back in the day, got me a little interested in what the Texans were up to. And in watching the drafting of C.J. Stroud and what Nick Caserio, since he's been unleashed from all the craziness down in Houston, what he was able to build, both in terms of a coaching staff and in terms of watching him this year build his roster while JD builds his roster. And I'm sorry, Bonesy, I know you're a truther, but this whole Haason Reddick thing compared to the Donnell Hunter situation in Houston, you just look at one and you say, this is how you do it. And then you look at what's going on in Florham Park and you have to shake your head and then realize, is this the organization that drafted Zach Wilson and Mekhi Becton and Denzel Mims and Michael Carter I and Elijah Moore? Or is this the organization that is building everything else that we rave about all the time? And you just have to look at it and say, does Caserio understand it better than what Joe D has? And Joe D did it with his mentor, with Howie Roseman. If Howie Roseman, who was thought of as one of the best GMs in the history of the NFL, wanted to make the swap the other way, I have to sit back and say, is this just bad GMing? And I know I've said it on the chat a number of times, but obviously we don't know what's really been said between the two of them when the trade was made. Obviously something went amiss where both sides had different expectations. But guys, how can you defend what the Jets have done here?
You can't, because they shouldn't have done the trade, Jay. 100%. That's where I go back to. Like, yeah, I'm sure the Jets are right in their stance, and Reddick maybe reneged on whatever he told them. But, like, that's the risk you run when you make a deal before signing a new contract. That's why it never happens. That's why I don't understand people like saying, well, the Jets, they didn't do anything wrong. It's Reddick's camp. It's like, okay, but name me the team that's not the Jets that acquired a player who everyone knew wanted the new deal from the team he was currently on, his homegrown team. He wanted to be an Eagles from Camden, New Jersey. Grew up an Eagles fan. He played at Temple. Like, everyone knew why he was leaving the Eagles. And then the Jets are like, yeah, we'll figure it out down the line. Like, no, get the deal done before the trade is made so this doesn't potentially happen.
I refer to the clip that everybody loves, Connor Long speaking to Rich Eisman, Connor from Long Island. And, Rich basically said the Jets are all in. They have a very small window, 1 or 2 years to win their second Super Bowl. why wouldn't you just take care of this and make the deal and worry about the future in the future when your window is no longer that open? I mean, it's something here just doesn't make sense. And I've tried to research this from all of your content creator friends and everybody who writes, and there is no explanation for this. There is no rational explanation for where the Jets are now, and the Jets are in a corner. They're out of options. I mean,
so is Reddick, to be fair, but
they both are. I live in an area where there's no end to a conflict, and I hate to make the analogy; it's not fair, but it's almost the same. We're locked in with two sides where there's no reasonable solution. They're both screwed, or as Shakespeare said in Romeo and Juliet at the end, all are punished.
Jay, here's the best I could do for the situation we as Jet fans find ourselves in.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
Yet, I'm still picking them to go 12-5 and win the AFC East, baby, because I'm sick and deranged.
And that's the crazy part. Like, talking about the dysfunction, I mean, we can go up and down the list of Joe Douglas's failures, from, the Zach Wilson pick, free agency with, Corey Davis, Laken Tomlinson, Uzama, other draft picks like Elijah Moore, like the caller mentioned. But like, we're talking about the roster right now, like it's a top 5, top 10. Exactly. So like, who has more pressure on them this season? I mentioned last week, I could see a scenario where maybe, Douglas sticks around and Saleh gets fired. But to Saleh's credit, 2 years ago, he made the right decision benching Zach Wilson. You can't necessarily blame him for last year. He didn't have a backup quarterback to roll with. I don't even think he wanted to fire LaFleur. I feel like that decision was out of his hands. So like, if he had better quarterback play, which is on Joe Douglas, not him, better offensive line play on Joe Douglas, not him, this is probably a playoff team the last 2 years. So who really has more pressure this year? I don't really know.
Super Chats cut the line. JJ writes in, when is Bonesy's birthday? Well, we're celebrating it on Saturday, but Mr. Bonesy turned 40 years young at the beginning of this month. So there you go, JJ. Tony says, Jake, I heard you on One Jets Drive. Super cool. Keep it up, man. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate that. Stephen Craig checks in. Reddick needs to fire his agent. Could have simply held in, and this would be resolved already. I mean, I guess, right? But we don't know what the offer the Jets made to him was. What if it was like a insultingly lowball offer, like the Reddick camp says it was, by the way. Yeah. And like, how do we know just because he showed up, they would have been able to agree to terms? Like, if that's the case, go sign Michael Carter. If you're telling me you won't negotiate with a player who's not in training camp with you, who you've never interacted with, then go sign a guy who has been there every step of the way, has overplayed or overexceeded the expectations of his rookie contract, is going to go into his walk year unsigned. Don't do the Bryce Up situation all over again, Joe Douglas. Get Carter done today, and then that also sends a message to the Reddick camp as well that you're telling the truth.
I agree, Reddick's underpaid. I just don't know what other team was willing to meet his demands. Because again, according to all reports, like other teams, when they talked to him, they were not willing to come close to the $25 million plus that he was asking for, which again is the market value based on his production. But if no one's willing to pay it, then you don't really have much of a case.
I do wonder why Houston didn't make the Reddick trade, because I think Reddick's a better player than Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, I would give Reddick that deal if I could. I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Weed the People checks in. I'm starving. Weed, thank you for your contribution to today's program. Appreciate that.
Okay,
hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We're talking with Primetime Kevin Sirkin, Let's Talk Jets Radio, him and Tyson every Monday night, killing it as they always do on the channel. And I mean, throughout the week, there's always rants and raves over there. So make sure you guys subscribe to Let's Talk Jets. They're probably, you guys probably are the longest running like internet show about the Jets, right? Because you guys were on Blog Talk Radio before the YouTube days.
Yeah, we started up doing Blog Talk in 2015. So this is our 10th year. Still no playoffs to talk about, which is just absolutely wild. But yeah, I don't think anybody's been doing it as long, which is kind of cool.
Love it. Love it. These guys do a great job. Let's see. Comments, questions, super chats. Dave writes in. I saw Dave call in wearing an Asmaniac bucket hat on the Boy Green program this morning. Thank you, Dave. I worry about the MetLife garbage turf for all our players. The day the Jets leave for their own stadium can't come soon enough. I don't know when that day's coming. So I'm sorry, Dave. But as far as the turf, we know it sucks. Like, I don't know what we could do as fans. Like, we all know it's bad. The players tell you it's bad, and then nothing changes.
Well, the decision's out of the Jets' hands. I mean, isn't it the Giants that don't want to make the change? least from what
I guess it's both of them, though. I mean,
I thought the Jets were open to it, unless I misread.
I think the Jets blame the Giants.
Okay. And who knows if we could take the Jets' word on that?
Well, I mean, Haason Reddick is not taking their word.
Exactly.
Willie Vision with a super chat. He cuts the line. Keep the super chats coming, baby. I have Chipotle to pay for later. Hall and Allen will be like 09 and 10 ground and pound. Yes. I mean, I've watched Braylon Allen in person 3 times. I've been impressed each time. You've seen him more than me. He was awesome in that first game. What have you seen from Braylon Allen? Because yesterday, I mean, he's playing a role with the ones. He's going to be out there with Brees, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see that dynamic with the two of them.
He honestly looks amazing. I'm still shocked that he slipped to the 4th round. Preseason game looked phenomenal. I love the way he finishes his runs, always looking for contact and just running people over. I forget who said it. That shit hurt. I think it was Moses. That shit hurts when you try to tackle him. Like he looks like a defensive lineman, but he's as quick as a running back. He's got that plant where he just cuts. Incredible. Love watching him.
Robert C checks in. Who's finishing second, Buffalo or Miami? I think the Bills are second.
I think Miami.
Miami?
I don't trust Tua, but I think they got enough talent. I think they'll be second.
Well, as long as the Jets are first, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And we know who's going to be coming up the rear, baby.
Who's that?
The smelly New England Patriots. Shout out to Bobby Midnight. I started using the word smelly to describe things, so that's all because of Bobby. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. This guy is someone that you know well, Kevin. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring on, speaking of farts.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he's not on the toilet.
Hello, V-Man.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm good, fine. How are you?
There's the dog.
You look exactly like how you looked Monday night.
Thanks. Well, this Reddick shit's getting annoying. It's like, you just want it over. I just want to get the football season already. I want the situation to be over. I want to watch, I want to finally see what we've been, for like, ever since 2022, we've been hinted at, like, the potential of what this offense could be. But we've been held back either by the terrible quarterback play or just a garbage offensive line. And now this is finally the year where we finally get to see it at its full potential. And it's so exciting to just, these thoughts in the back of your head of seeing this for the first time, like first time seeing actual offensive football that's palatable since probably 2015.
I mean, they have a legitimate chance to have one of the 10 best offenses in the league, if not better.
Feels like 2 decades since they've been behind the rest of the league with all the offensive rule changes. It always seems like the Jets are the one team that can never take advantage of it. This year, I think.
No, it's just going to be so exciting, and I just can't wait for it. It's like it's just a breath of fresh air, after so much garbage we've had to sit through. And I'm looking forward. And I feel you guys. I feel like this is the year that I feel like we're going to win the division. I'm confident in everything. I agree with you on the Reddick stuff completely. I think both sides have made errors in this. The Jets should have had the deal done before they even talked about a trade, before they even signed the papers on the trade. So, it's a frustrating situation. The Jets are making the right moves, digging in. And the question is, what type of Haason Reddick are we going to get after this is all done? Is he going to just be like water under the bridge, or is he going to be fussy? Is a question.
That is the question.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the question.
Scary question.
V-Man, thank you for the time.
All right. Peace.
That's the end of this V-Man call. Time for him to get back to pooping.
Now, I know V-Man was actually sleeping, I believe, when he tried to call into your show on Monday. Kevin, is that true?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago.
We tried bringing him on, and he was just fast asleep. Still doesn't beat the call where his mom walked in. I don't know if you saw that one.
No, that's. I've had some great V-Man moments yesterday. I met V cousin, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, she walked right in. He just freaked out. Get out of here! I'm on the show. Almost like Mog at the Meatloaf.
V-Man performing the halftime show on the guitar at T Squared Social on Saturday.
Wow.
He says he would if someone brings him an instrument, so it's in the works.
Can't be $4 shots also.
$4 shots every time the Jets score a touchdown and right at kickoff.
That's awesome.
It could be dangerous.
Especially in New York City. You can't beat that.
I mean, things are happening, man. And hopefully people take the train so they don't have to drive because it's right next to Grand Central Station. It's going down. You're invited, Kevin. I don't know if you're available, but obviously you are, of course, invited.
Appreciate it. I think I might be around.
All right. Well, if you could make it in, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Sirkin will be there. Kevin, I appreciate you hopping on this morning, man. Always a great time to get you on. You've done a great job at all the practices this summer, so it's been fun checking in with you, and I'm sure we'll do it again.
Definitely, man. Appreciate it.
Kevin Sirkin from Let's Talk Jets Radio with us there. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. Hit the like button. If you just arrived, comments, questions, and super chats, we'll cut the line. The Gustbuster hotline is wide open. So if you want in on the conversation, now is the time to do exactly that. When we come back, your calls, and we'll talk more about the state of the Jets as they get set tomorrow for a joint practice against the Carolina Panthers. Back with more on that. Keep it right here. It's the Jake Asman Show on YouTube. Is there any truth to the rumor you're having Kanoble on your show?
Maybe.
Who the fuck do you think you are, Charles? I'm the Kanoble, and I'm playing for the Jets next year. You better get used to it, motherfucker, because I'm coming to get you.
Did you see the interview we did with Kanoble yesterday when he called in?
No, I did not.
I'm just kidding, Charles. I love you, man. You're the greatest. I just want to be your friend, okay? So, please do my friend. Motherfucker!
All right. Charles, thank you for the time today. Last night on a radio station in this town known as The Fan, WFAN, Keith McPherson took a call from Bobby Midnight, who wanted to ask some questions about Kanoble.
All right, let's go back to Bob in Vermont.
I wanted to ask you, what do you think the Jets and Giants will do on the draft, your choices? And also, do you ever hear of a player from college called Kanoble?
Kanoble? From what school?
College.
Yeah, but what college?
It's just college. Do you ever hear that guy's name?
No, I've never heard of Kanoble from college.
Kanoble.
Kanoble from college? What position does he play?
He plays offense and defense.
He plays offense and defense? He's a two-way guy?
Yep, that's what he said.
How do you spell the last name?
Kanoble. I can't remember how you spell it. It starts with K, I know that.
Okay, because I'm spelling it wrong on Google.
No, Kanoble.
Thanks for the call, Bob. I do not know who Kanoble is. Maybe somebody listening knows of a player, a two-way player coming out of college that gives you like 300 options. I'm looking at Zoo. He's just laughing. I'm trying to find out. A two-way player plays offense and defense. Kanoble is coming.
Do you ever hear of Kanoble?
There were two listeners of mine who called WFAN asking two separate hosts if the Jets should take Kanoble, and each host was like, they were stumped. They're like, I haven't done enough draft prep. I'm unaware. And they're reciting lines from the show.
John and Seaford, what's up, bud?
A lot of these Jet fans out there want Brock Bowers.
Yes, that is the sexy name surrounding the Jets.
I think the three options you go, O-line, receiver, or if Kanoble out of college is there, you got to take Kanoble. 5'7", 198, plays both sides of the ball. Not sure if you know him. Mel Kiper had him top 15 pick. What are your thoughts on Kanoble?
I don't know him that well. I'll be totally honest with you. Bro, I got to do more draft prep. You said he plays both sides of the ball. Makes me think, who plays both sides of the ball in the NFL?
We now have Kanoble's testing numbers. There's a reason why Kanoble has skyrocketed off the draft boards here. He has tremendous testing numbers. It's tremendous. The only knock on Kanoble is he's 5'7", 198. But he's a two-way player. He can play both sides of the ball. And if you were listening to WFAN last night, it was Rob from Glenhead, not Johnny Quest impersonating Rob from Glenhead, called in to ask FAN host Keith McPherson if the Jets should consider this Kanoble guy.
Let's go to Rob in Glenhead first up on the Fan.
Well, yeah, I'm out right now with my friend Neil Chipotle, just chilling out, talking Jets, smoking cigars. I was listening yesterday to your show. The guy Bobby from Vermont called up about this guy Kanoble. Yeah, I think I found out who he was talking about.
Okay, what college? What school?
I didn't get that, but there was an NFL Network did a spotlight on him. Neil, look up the college this kid went to. So it's pronounced Kanoble when he was in an island, but then they changed to Kanoble when he came over. They were talking about. I think his brother was a 7th round pick in like 2022. Dude, the kid. Listen, I don't know if he's going to go in the 1st round, but he plays receiver and nickel corner. His stats are crazy.
Do you know how to spell his last name? I have not heard of this kid.
Kanoble. Neil, look it up.
I can't spell shit.
40-yard dash, 4.3. Cone drill, 6.41. I don't even know if that's good. You know, you're an athlete. Is that good?
I guess 6.41. It could be faster.
Vertical, 47.
No, that's ridiculous.
The fact is this: if you're getting a receiver and a nickel, if he plays receiver, we need a receiver, right? Because Lazard's terrible. And if he's nickel corner, we have Michael Carter, who I think is going to be a free agent next year. You can't afford him, so you replace him.
I don't know, but that's what confused me yesterday. We're talking about a two-way player getting drafted and expected to play both ways?
Yeah, dude, I never heard of it, so I saw it on the NFL Network, and then when Bobby was talking about it, I'm like, that sounds familiar. I looked it up. The crazy thing, he's from like some small island near Hawaii. They have like 350 kids. It was like 13 kids on his high school team. That's why he went both ways. I know most times in New York and New Jersey, everyone goes both ways.
In high school, yeah, but in college, that's why I'm like, I haven't been watching NFL Network.
If they can get this kid in the 1st, I don't think he's going to fall to 10, and maybe the Giants, maybe the Cowboys get him. Where do the Cowboys pick him?
24, they're cooked.
He'll probably be gone by then.
Do you know the spelling of his name?
Oh, Neil, you got that name?
Yeah, here
all
it
right.
is.
Yep. Yep.
K-A-N-O-B-L-E. I'm going to hang up and listen, Keith. Be good, all right?
Yeah, thanks for the call. So we were talking last night. Yeah, Bob from Vermont called in, was talking about this kid, and I never heard of him. Kanoble NFL draft? Nah, you guys got to be trolling me. This is like the tale of like, I don't know, like a Bigfoot or something. Like this is a two-way player that plays wide receiver, nickel corner. He's got a 47-inch vertical. I haven't heard of the guy, but I don't think two different calls would call about this Kanoble guy.
How did you hold it together, man? I'm dying.
Oh, did they, Keith? You got. Best listeners in the world, the Asmaniacs. That J-Quest call, man, still kills me. Unreal. Hit the like button. We're back. Open phone lines. I don't know where everyone is this morning. No one is on hold right now. So if you want to join the show, you can. Also, I mentioned it before, but for those just tuning in, I want to give a big shout out to the Jets social team. If you watched One Jets Drive last night, you might have heard this.
For a guy like Aaron, I know he's going to love having Mike out there because the 50-50 ball all of a sudden starts going like 70-30 his way, and that's valuable in this league.
Mike Williams has been cleared for takeoff. The Jet wide receiver is being activated from the PUP list.
Yes, he was. I know that guy. Great voice. Thanks to One Jets Drive for featuring Jake Asman. All right, more of your calls. This guy called in right away. Nate, Nate's on the line. Hello, Nate.
What's up, Jake? How are you?
Love that hat, man. I
love it too. I found it it was Addison's always wearing it, and I needed to find, but then it sold out on the Jets website, but I found it at the stadium. So I love the new logo. It's all like around the front, they put all the banners up, this logo and the other like NY with the dash. I love it in the stadium. I think it looks sweet.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thank you. All right, I got plenty of Haason Reddick talk for you, so I don't know how much time you got. But Bonesy's right. You can't just extend the guy immediately for many reasons. Like he pointed out some of the reasons with he hasn't produced for you yet. The whole culture thing, as much as like that's a cliche that like has been a big reason why we've made this like shift. You can see in all the players we draft and whatnot, like we don't get those crazy guys that are on the Raiders and speeding and doing whatever. I'm not saying Haason Reddick is that guy, but I'm just saying like you haven't seen it in a Jets uniform. So whether there's truth to that statement that JD said, like we want him to show up, we want to see it in regular season games, but I think JD's also very calculated. There's people calling in as if he doesn't know what he's doing. He obviously didn't want Bryce Huff, or Bryce Huff didn't want him, or Bryce Huff would be a Jet, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's people out there who think Bryce Huff didn't want to be a Jet. Yeah, I mean, I think the Jets didn't want to pay Bryce Huff what he wanted.
I agree. I think both really didn't want to get it done. So like that's why Bryce Huff isn't here, and he had an amazing pivot. Like you had the show, you were very excited. You just alluded to it earlier. Every Jets fan was like, "Whoa, I never saw this coming," et cetera, et cetera. The guy is underpaid. We know that, but just because we traded for him doesn't mean we have to trade him. Like you said, it was like the Brian Burns deal, but Brian Burns is 27 years old, entering his prime. Like if we got Haason Reddick 3 or 4 years ago, sure, pay him his money, and he's this elite pass rusher, but like he's 30, 31, he's 240 pounds. What speed rusher puts up 12 to 15 sacks or double-digit sacks like at 33 years old? And that's what we would be paying him if we extended him for mega money. You know what I'm saying? We see it in the NBA. All the guys perform, and then teams overpay them, so to speak. Like Jordan Poole or whatever, and they're good on one team, and then once they hit a certain, actually that wasn't a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? Once they hit a certain age, especially speed rushers, can they produce? But I agree with you that like JFM was a bad move. If we had JFM here right now, everything would be different. Like,
Well,
I'm not saying we don't need Haason
you
Reddick,
don't,
but
you don't have JFM because you added Reddick. That's why get the deal done with Reddick before you make the trade. Or how about this? Pony up an extra $2 million and just sign Clowney like you tried to before you then pivoted to Reddick in the first place because you didn't want to beat the Panthers' offer.
that's fair. But I think we all admit Haason is like a top 5 edge rusher, not Clowney, right?
I think he's top 10, but yeah, I mean, he's a damn good player.
So he's a damn good player. We're in the Super Bowl window, and potentially he's here for 1 year. I think that's JD's plan. He knew the worst, like as ugly as this could get, would be now. Does it suck? Is it like a very unfortunate situation? Absolutely. But who has the leverage? Like, what does Haason Reddick want to do? Retire? He can't do anything.
Yeah, but what if he's not the same Haason Reddick? That's the fear. What if he gets hurt? He has a soft tissue
That would
injury.
also suck. Yeah, no, that would also suck.
So that's the risk. It's a huge risk when you could have just said. So are you better off having a Haason Reddick who's not motivated or is not playing well, or Jadeveon Clowney who'd be here on a 1-year deal who had 9.5 sacks last year, who'd be highly incentivized to continue to play great so he gets paid?
That's fair. That's fair, Jake. But to counter that, like JD, you saw JD put out that statement, right?
Yes.
First time ever in his career he's put out a statement like that. He's not playing games in terms of like, oh, I'm now in his GMing career, he's gonna start toying with the media. He's never been that kind of guy. I think he was obviously honest with that statement, and whatever shady business is going on behind the scenes with the agent. Again, we don't know. Like one of your calls said it earlier. He was like, this is bad GMing, and then his next sentence is, we don't know what was said behind scenes. So, how do we know? If one thing was said and Haason was like, I'll play no matter what for 1 year, and now he's not?
Nate, why does this only happen to the Jets, though? Like, name me an example where we've had this. That's my issue. Like, I don't, like, the Jets don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. This is why you get the deal done before the trade. It's never happened with a player like this.
Name an example where a 30-year-old pass rusher who completely overpaid his or overperformed his contract for 3 years was then traded for a 3rd-round pick from his hometown team. Like, he's obviously pissed. The circumstances are very different. But again, JD knew that the leverage is, he's going to have it no matter what, even if it gets to this ugly point. But I think the timing of him requesting a trade is because Haason knows he needs 2 weeks. That's what most players say. They need 2 or 3 weeks to get ready for the season, right? So he knows, I need to show up to camp soon. Like, I need my money. I need to get it done. That's why when push comes to shove, the agent came out and said what he did. And I don't think it was at this time for a reason. Like you said this weeks ago, and I agreed with you then. But now I wouldn't be surprised if this somehow gets done in the next week, because Haason knows he can't sit out. He'll lose fine money, and then he'll lose his entire salary, and then he won't get that max money as a 30 to 31-year-old after sitting out a year. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if he's going to show. Like nothing with this whole thing has made any sense. So that's where I think there's a flaw in, like, oh, he's going to show up.
So then retire and never play football again.
Well,
like,
no,
that's his other option.
No, here's when he would show up. He'd show up the Monday of week 1. And then he would collect his game check.
Then he's a fool. Like, if he's a fool and wants to get hurt,
he's a fool, in my opinion,
perform,
for how he's handled this already, though. So
agreed.
Le'Veon Bell was a fool, too. He still did it.
Yes, fine. I agree with you. So if he sits
Players
out,
are
right?
stupid.
They
get bad advice. They have egos.
Fine.
So
I agree with you, Jake.
Nate, the Jets might win the negotiation, but you're cutting off your nose to spite your face if you're not getting the same version of the player you thought you were acquiring.
The result could end up negative.
You John Franklin Myers.
Again, I agree. The result could be negative, but JD obviously didn't. If he thought it was going to lead to this situation, he's probably not making the trade. It got to the worst point possible. But if he's a fool and wants to show up not in shape week 1 and get hurt as he's 30 years old and not play this year and then ask for 25 next year on the open market, he's drunk. That is not happening. So I think he knows, like I said, the timing, you know, negotiating, when it comes to deadlines and timing, like, that's when people come to the table. That's when phone calls are made. That's when stuff goes into the public. So, like, the fact that the agent said this now, I think is because Haason knows, like, yo, I got to get to camp. I got to get in shape, or I'm not going to be able to get my 10 to 15 sacks this year. So we all can make a big deal out of it because we love to talk Jets 24 hours a day. But behind closed doors, Haason knows he needs to show up. Haason knows he needs the Jets. And as much as we say, oh, we need Haason Reddick, believe it or not, other pass rushers will play for the Jets. Haason Reddick has 1 year to make this money right now as 29 to 30 years old. He needs the Jets. We have his rights, bottom line. And JD knows that. That's why he released that statement for the one time. Let me make one other point, Jake, that I haven't heard a lot of people making. Do you know who Haason Reddick's agent is?
Tory Dandy.
Do you know who also represents Haason Reddick in CAA sports?
Well, they have so many agents, so no. Who?
Well, who also, his name is Jimmy Sexton.
Oh, so Douglas's
Now,
agent. I know, yes.
So how is that's a conflict of interest, right?
It happens all the
How is that-
time. It happens all the time.
With GMs and a star player negotiating with the exact
Nate,
same
you
agents and
are-
agency?
Nate, you and I are huge Knicks fans. Leon Rose is the GM of the team. His son is Jalen Brunson's agent.
Agreed. Yeah, that's probably how that was a big reason why he got here and growing up with the team. But I'm just saying, like think on the player's behalf, and you're Haason Reddick. Do you want, like, you're a businessman? You might have an agent. Do you have an agent? I don't know. You might have an agent one day. Would you want an agent negotiating on your behalf who's also the employer's agent who's negotiated his contract?
No,
Would you
but
want
I'm just there's more than one agent. Like it's under the CAA umbrella, but it's not the direct representative. I'm just telling you this happens all the time. Look, you make some fair points, but like at the end of the day, my concern is not the Jets eventually getting Reddick to show up. My concern is I don't know if we're getting the same player we thought we were getting when they made that deal. So you could say, yeah, there's going to be other pass rushers who will play for the Jets. Okay, Joe Douglas is not here next year if they don't win. This guy's going to help you win. He's jeopardizing the opportunity to make this team better by playing this song and dance and not getting the deal done at the time the trade was
I agree.
made. That's
as
the
of
criticism.
as of right now, my apologies. I didn't mean to cut you off. As of right now, it sucks, right? But how long do we think? We've all heard players say, how long do they need to get ready for a season? Which is
2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, right? 2 to 3 weeks. How long are we away from regular season? Week 1.
Yeah, but we're about 3 weeks away, right? 3.5.
3 weeks, under a month when they made that announcement. So I said, if it gets to under 2 weeks away, like after that third preseason or before that third preseason game, and he's not there to practice for that third game, and then the bye week in between where he can get his body ready, whatever. Then I'm somewhat concerned for that. But again, I just like it's a sucky situation, but the guy needs us and he needs to show up. So I think the timing of that release statement was like very important in terms of like his agent's negotiating skills or whatever.
It's the last thing they
he
can play. Yeah, it's the last move they can play. I do agree
so I'm
with
not
that.
concerned until that deadline of like he doesn't have 2 weeks to get ready, and like if he wants to show up, Sunday before and get on the plane, then that'll be tough to go into San Francisco or whatever day we fly out. You know what I'm saying? But then I'd be concerned. But it's like, it is what it is at this point, and he's obviously the one that's kind of making an ass out of himself if he wants to like ruin his contract year. That's the bottom line. Is JD's not giving him a 3-year extension. We all know that, and like you said, we don't know what was said behind closed doors, so we don't know all the behind the scenes detail. Haason could have said, "Yeah, I'll come play for 1 year," or they were negotiating right before the trade and it didn't happen. And Haason and his agent said, "You know what? Let's just go with the trade. And once we get there, they're in a Super Bowl window. Obviously, we can push this over the finish line." And we know our GM; he's not doing that. So it obviously, and I said with this when he released the statement earlier, he's never done that in his career, and he had it ready in minutes. So I think something's going on the other side, but it sucks. It sucks for both sides. I honestly don't blame anyone because Haason deserves to be played more. I blame actually Hasson's agent not last year. He should have held out for the Eagles. He didn't, and we're getting the mess of like, did he hold out last year, like a mini camp or something?
But then he showed up eventually, yeah.
And then he showed up eventually, and like played nice guy. So like he's not going to play nice guy for a new team.
That's why you get the deal done before you acquire him. It all goes back to that.
Right, but what if something like
don't trade for him? Then we're going to go in circles. We're going to go in circles. We did it. Then don't acquire him. Sign Jadeveon Clowney. Pay Bryce Huff. That's the point. How they're handling it now is the only approach they could take. But the fact that we're here, that's my biggest issue. It got to this point. We're making all these excuses for Douglas. Why? Why? This only happens to the Jets. Name me the team that acquired a player everyone knew wanted to get paid and you never got the deal done before the trade. You can't name the team. It hasn't happened. Every player that got traded this offseason that's a Pro Bowl player signed deals instantly with the team that acquired them. That's why I'm not giving the Jets a pass for this. I think Reddick's camp is foolish. I think he looks like a clown in this too. His agents, I think, are terrible, the advice they've given him. But I'm not excusing the Jets because I don't care about Haason Reddick. I care about the Jets, and this guy can help the Jets win. That's the point. And maybe he still can, but once again, this leads to Reddick pulling a hamstring or not being the same guy, and we're not getting the player we thought, and we're going to be saying, how did we not pay Bryce Huff? How did we just get rid of JFM for nothing for this guy? Look, Reddick shows up, they do whatever to his contract, he has a baller year, then you know what? I'll say, you know what, Douglas, it was messy, but at least it worked out that way. But I don't have a lot of faith in that being the outcome here. I don't. I've been scarred too many times rooting for this team. Andrew Kennedy, thank you for giving us something to be happy about. How about a 5-spot of channel memberships?
Money, 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 money.
Here we go. 5 names. ... Andrew Yale, Cosmo87, Brian Lemos, Nick Selaitri. You are all channel members. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. More calls right now in just a second. But first, a super chat from Here for the Memes. Do we believe the Hughes report that Haason Reddick would show? I'm sure the Jets believed Haason Reddick was going to show up. I think that's where the agent gave bad advice. Reddick should have showed up. It would have been a sign of good faith. Meet his teammates, meet the coaches, and then work towards a new deal. But I would also say this to the Jets. Their policy of we don't give out deals to players that aren't with us, haven't shown up, then sign Michael Carter. Because the Jets are telling you, well, we don't do deals with players on the last year of their contracts that don't even show up. Well, okay. Then prove that. Sign Michael Carter to an extension. Extend Tyler Conklin. Saves money on your cap. DJ Reed. And next year, Quincy Williams is due to make, I think, $6 million in the last year of his contract because it was front-loaded. He's not playing for $6 million. So you're going to have to give him a raise, too, next year, just so everyone knows. When he goes out there and has another first-team all-pro level season. JJ with a super chat. I want to take a shot with Bonesy. My birthday is the 18th. All right, JJ. Well, if you get there before kickoff, I'll buy both of your shots for $8 total. If not, you're going to cost me $14. So get there early. I'm just kidding. But I will buy shots for you, gentlemen. Wolf of Gotham with a super chat. If Reddick is such a game changer, how did the Zach Will? This is such a stupid comment. I appreciate the money because I am a capitalist. But you're going to say, if Reddick is a game changer, how did Zach Wilson and the Jets win that game? I can't. I don't even want to tell you why you're wrong because I don't have it in me today. I really don't. We will see you in 5 minutes.
Into the shadow realm you go. That's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. This guy is a cancer that's metastasized throughout the entire building in Florham Park. And I don't know why Jets fans can't see it.
Or, here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
I mean, good God. Is Josh Allen not good because he lost to the Jets week 1 against Zach Wilson? See how silly it is to try and judge one game and to find a player? Go look at Haason Reddick's stats and then come back to me, Wolf of Gotham. Find me a Jet player that has ever had 11 or more sacks in 4 years in a row. You won't be able to find one because it's never happened. That's what Reddick's done. This guy is a premier pass rusher in the league. And you bring up the defense last year. You know what that defense had last year? Bryce Huff and John Franklin Myers on it. You know what this defense doesn't have right now? John Franklin or Bryce Huff on it. You know who's going to replace their production? Haason Reddick, who's not here. City Burt with a super chat. Can't compare this to Chris Jones and CD. They all know the team and the system. Easy to come in late. Reddick's new. Feel like he'll be traded. I don't think they're going to trade him, City Burt, because I don't think anyone wants him. That said, I agree with the first part of your super chat. It's a different situation than Jones and CD. I agree. And Ayuk and Sanford, for that matter, too. More of your calls right now. I know what we need to do to get us back on track. We have a who's who of callers on the line. But none will bring us what we need in this time of need more than the lane train.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Hey, Lane.
Hi, Jake. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good, Lane. Good morning.
I'm having my nice cup of coffee to start off the day.
Lane, I got to send you a Jake Asman Show coffee mug, all right?
Yeah. You hear that? He's sending me a Jake Asman coffee mug.
Yeah.
Mommy? Yeah, that was just... Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big coffee drinker. Anyway, so the reason why I was calling... Sorry, can you please close it? That, how do you feel about Reed? Do you think he'll do good with the Jets?
DJ Reed?
Yeah, DJ Reed.
I think he's proven to be a really good corner. You know, he's as good as you're going to find for a number 2 corner.
I'm also tired of hearing about the whole DJ person, you know?
I think you mean Reddick.
Caller,
Do you mean Haason Reddick?
DJ Reddick. What's going to happen with him? You think he'll get signed, or do you think they'll give him a waiver? See, I mean, that's, I'll argue.
Well, he's under contract, so they technically don't need to do anything. I think he shows up eventually.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. That DJ Reddick, man. He's a really good player, Lane. They need him.
I'm listening. And so how do you feel about the season coming up in
pretty good.
a week?
Well, more than a week.
Yeah, no.
September 9th is the first game.
It's going to be probably really hyped up. Everybody's going to be happy watching the game.
Only if they win, we'll be happy.
I know they're going to win. Yeah, I know, that's great. I know that they're going to wear the old uniforms for the first game.
Well, their old uniforms are now, they're now the permanent uniforms.
Yeah, I know.
The 1980 Sack Exchange jerseys.
Yeah, I like with the green. Like those are going to be classic. But then they're, I like the old ones though now, the green, like the old green.
Yeah, those are great too.
And the way ones are the white ones that they'll wear for all the Jets players.
Oh yeah.
Quay Williams, on the other hand, did somebody get injured? Because I know that Gibson is out.
He's back.
Yeah, I know he came off the IL.
Yep.
Yeah. And also earlier, I saw Keith McPherson. Was it a doll of him or just a real one?
Oh, that was real.
Yeah, and he was with Bobby talking. I want him to join the show, actually. I want to be with him and Bobby on the show.
Yeah. Me too. Unfortunately, Bobby's not on hold right now. Otherwise, I would put you two together.
So, anyway, so what kind of coffees do you like?
I'm a Dunkin' guy.
Starbucks? Oh, I'm Dunkin'?
Yeah.
Starbucks is strong, though.
What type of coffee do you like?
Medium roast. I like Dunkin' coffee. It's fresh.
You're a Dunkin' guy, huh?
Smoothies also. Yeah, I like the refreshers now for the summer. But anyway, yeah, so you have to move the ball because going into the season, they made a lot of mistakes last year because you're just standing there not knowing where to throw, and that's why they got like intercepted. Ooh, my train's here. The choo-choo's leaving the station.
You got to go, Lane?
Well, the train could wait. But yeah, so anyway, I like the uniforms you got. The uniform you got me, rather. And so just like pacing a little bit. That's why I'm in my room.
Yeah, train to catch.
Yeah, so I'm doing good. Like, I'm just relaxing also. But yeah, I mean, I hope they go all the way this year because the way they throw the ball, it depends on if they go. And anyway, why did the Jets get Tyrone Taylor? I don't get it. He was with the Giants last year.
He's better than Zach Wilson as a backup.
Yeah, I know Zach Wilson was traded to another team, to the was it Washington? I think they traded him away to
Denver.
Okay, Mom said I don't want me to keep you on. All right, bye.
Bye, Lane.
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
That was electric. Thank you, Lane. Well done, sir. Well done. I will send you a coffee mug today. Now that I know you're a big coffee guy, I got it right here for you. All right. I also put in some other items from the merch store for you. Love that. Hit the like button and hit the Lane Train as Maniac emoji if you're watching live right now. There's 340 of you who just got the Lane Train experience. More calls. 3 siblings. Jay is next. Hello, Jay.
It's good, Jake. How you doing?
What's up, Jay?
Good. Today is my favorite day of the week. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. It's the only day I'm off. So I love this day. I have 2 points I want to bring up. The first one, the hot topic, is Haason Reddick. I know a few people already heard my thoughts about this, but I hear 100% what you're saying and everything. You don't trade for a guy like this. He sat out last year with 1 year left in his contract. You don't think he was going to sell it this year without getting a contract? Like JD, he was scared that Clowney, we couldn't sign them. So he panicked. Who else was going for Haason Reddick? Who else wanted to trade for him? Because they know they would have to pay him. So why would you pick up this player and you have to pay him? JD, you know that. You don't. Tyreek Hill, when he first got signed, you had to pay him. Like any of these.
Every player. There's like, you're not gonna, that's why I'm like, the people are like, oh, it's Reddick. It's like, well, okay, Reddick is not blameless here either. I think his agents have been bad about whatever. But name me the team that has ever been in this situation the Jets are in. So it's like, why does this only happen to the team we root for? Why do we always have to be the butt of every joke? Like, this is such a preventable situation. I don't care if they paid Reddick when they signed him what Danielle Hunter got. I would understand it. It's a 2-year window. You're all in the win. They had the money to do it. So the fact that this got to this point, to me, is fair to criticize the Jets for. The Jets are not blameless in this.
Exactly. Everyone says it's not JD's fault. How is it not his fault? This is literally Haason Reddick doesn't control where he gets traded to. We picked him up. We traded for him. And then you have a disgruntled player that wants to get paid. And, okay, we're not going to do anything. We're just not going to pay him. Like, come on. You got to be serious. So that's where I stand on Haason Reddick. Something I'm happy about is Aaron Rodgers, man. Like, I've been scared. I've been worried. You know, I just wanted to see him get close to 100% as possible, man. And I know Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy that wears his heart on his sleeve, right? He hears everything. He takes everything personal. And he never had this much criticism going to the season before ever. And I just feel like he's about to scorch earth, no point intended. Seriously, man, I'm just happy for the season. We really need to get a pass rusher. I can't have Michael Clemens taking 60% of the snaps. I cannot do it. We can't do that, man.
No one wants that. I get it. Jay, great call.
All right, bro. You take care.
Enjoy the day off, Jay. The hump day off. Love that. Andrew Kennedy, thank you, sir. How about 5 more channel memberships?
I'm going to lose my gosh darn bananas.
Now, I played that one for you, Andrew, because I'm pretty sure you're the Andrew in the Discord this morning who said you might be coming down from Syracuse to go to the event on Saturday. You crazy, man? Thank you. If you can make it, we'd love to have you. It would be a blast. Here are the people who received memberships from Andrew. Gangrene David, Jake, White Mike 2023, Alfredo Ramirez, Jay Lepselter, all recipients of the channel memberships. Turn on gift receipts. Maybe it's going to rain more. I don't know. But we have the best listeners, so you can't rule it out. Speaking of those listeners, joining us right now is our king. The great King Lowski's on the line. Hello, King.
Jake, my brother. It's always good to see you. Lane Train, shout out to you, man. The best part of Lane Train is you get to telling them stuff, Jake, and he already knows, Jake. He already knows.
Oh, he's one step ahead of the game at all times.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the Lane Train. On to a heavier note. Bruce. Let me just say this on a heavier note, man. The last time I called into the show was when you had Paul Boy Green on, and I asked the question, at what point in time was it the organization's fault that this situation is occurring? And, you know, as a child, my mother always told me, and she always used to drill in my head, think before you act, son. Think before you act, okay? And of course I didn't listen because I'm a hard-headed cat. But with this situation, JD, you didn't think before you acted, son. Okay. Now I'm putting at this point, I'm putting all the blame on the organization because you did not think before you acted. No, in the NFL, nobody has done this. Okay. You don't bring in a player and you haven't signed them or you don't have a deal in place. Okay, I understand from Haason Reddick. I get the blame from, but at this point, that's null and void. Okay, at this point, the organization needs to get this together. Okay, because you're fighting for a championship. To hell with that money. Right now, is the window is very slim. Okay, and right now, all you doing is creating headlines. Okay, now all season, all I've heard was Jet headlines. Jet headlines. I'm tired of the damn headlines. Okay, and we close to playing football. Okay, we close to going to war in between the white lines. Okay. This is bullshit. Okay? The organization is at fault right now because you are creating headlines that can be avoided. Okay? This is bull, man. They need to get that man in the building, tell him what the heck you need, and get your butt on the field because we're fighting for a Super Bowl and we don't need headlines right now. Okay? This is sickening, man. This is real sickening. Get it together, Jets organization. Woody, if you have to step the hell in, son. Because right now, Jet fans don't need this. We don't deserve this. You calling this man phone, asking for ticket and trying to get ticket prices, trying to get this man to buy tickets, and y'all don't have Haason Reddick together. Get it together, Woody. Get the damn front office together, Woody. This is a disgrace. This is a damn disgrace to the whole organization.
Yes, our King Lowski. It needs to get done. There's no other way to say it. Whether the Jets are technically right or wrong, I think they're both sides are wrong. I think how the Jets are handling it's the right approach. At some point, get it done. It falls on the general manager. He's the one who made the deal. It only happens to the Jets. That's why I'm not giving the Jets a free pass like some of you want to. Dr. V-Man checks in with a super chat. Thank you, King Lowski. You said exactly what I was thinking. This falls on Joe Douglas. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I agree. Also, the Jets having the audacity to call me in the middle of one of my shows talking about Reddick the other day, hour after he made the trade request, trying to get me to buy tickets. You got another thing coming, Jets. I think you guys enough money. Speaking of money, this guy once paid $500 for an opinion about Alan Lazard. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castro. Hello, Peter.
Hey, Jake. How are you?
What's up, Peter?
You know, I love Joe Douglas, but this is all on him. Sheer stupidity. All right. You don't go get a player that's not signed, that you didn't have a deal with, and bring him in. You let Clowney walk away. You could have got him for $14 million or whatever that was. And you could have gotten what's his name? You would have never traded JFM. I mean, just how about Bryce Huff? They could have negotiated with him last year in the middle of the season. They didn't do it. They make too many stupid mistakes
because they didn't want him. So it's like, okay, if you don't want him, and like I understood not signing Huff, if your counter was Reddick's better, he fits our window, we're going for it. But then this can't happen. Like this should not be a story. This should have been done at the second the deal was agreed to.
Yeah, you don't bring a guy in that's not signed because you have a handshake that says he's going to play, and then he gets some fancy agent that you can't even talk to. You know, the only way you're going to settle this is to bring him in to the Jet facility with the Jet brass there and sit him down and talk to him and say, listen, do you want to play or not? Because you know what? We're not going to give you nothing. If you're not, we'll try to work out something. But, I mean, if you're just going to take this, I want $25 million, forget it. Forget it, and
Yeah.
just let him go. Not let him sit out a year. Next year he'll get nothing.
His contract will toll over. We'll be in the exact same scenario.
Exactly. And you know what? It's all on Douglas, and it was just dumb. There's no explanation for it. And Woody Johnson should step in now and say something or do something. Get this guy into the building. I mean, I'm getting frustrated with this. I don't want to hear about it no more.
I agree. At least your guy Rodgers looked great yesterday, and so did Alan Lazard. Both guys tremendous in practice.
It's all Rodgers. You know what? And if Haason Reddick talks to Rodgers, he'll probably be in camp tomorrow.
Rodgers did say he was going to call him, or he implied it.
Well, I guarantee you, if he talks to Rodgers, he'll be in there in a week. These guys don't know what they're. It's just I don't know. I can't even say what I'm thinking, because they get me so frustrated because they're so stupid. It's beyond belief.
Well, don't worry, Peter. I got something for you. All right, you're going to enjoy this. Okay.
Yes.
I'm crediting you for the summer of Alan Lazard. All right. This is all you. Well, look at this. All right. Look at this catch. Look at this catch over Sauce Gardner. That's Lazard, baby. And look, now he loves this fan base. You inspired him. Look what he does at the end of this play. All right. He's like, where's Peter Castro? Where's Peter? I'm trying to get him a football. I can't find him in the stands. So you know what he does? If I can't find Peter, I'll give it to a kid and make his day. Look at our guy, Alan Lazard here, man. I mean, this is all because of you.
Yeah, sure. I made his day, this creep. It's unbelievable.
Look at this. And look at your guy, Aaron. Can you make a better throw here? This is insane. With Sauce in lockdown coverage. Are you kidding me?
Listen, the Jets, all they got to do is call me up. I'll go in there and I'll settle with Reddick. He'll be in camp tomorrow. They're so dumb. They make me sick. Idiots.
Peter,
yes.
You're the best.
Okay.
Are you coming on Saturday?
No. I
All
won't
right.
be there.
Well, if you change your mind, I'll miss you too, Peter.
Take it easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Castro checking in. What a call. All right. Hey, why don't we do this? Darren says send another 500. Send another $500 super chat asking Robbie Sabo tomorrow about Reddick, and then Reddick will be there. That's how this works, right? Sorry, to be clear, $499. I love it. Hit the like button if you like that idea. Especially the last suggestion of the $500 super chat. That's a lot of Chipotle orders right there. I'll tell you that much. If you're tuning in late, we had Kevin Sirkin on, a.k.a. Primetime from Let's Talk Jets Radio. He joined the show for an awesome, awesome chat about the state of the Jets. He's been at more practices than anyone, so he's someone you definitely want to hear from because he broke down Rodgers' best practice of summer yesterday as well. Super chat from Bang Mateo. Relax. Jets have the leverage. Reddick will cave. LFG.
RELAX. Relax.
All right. If you say so, Bang. You've never steered us wrong. Jquest says, Jake, I'm fasting until Reddick shows up. Well, it looks like Jquest is about to die from hunger, unfortunately. I don't know when he's showing up. Can you make it to September 9th? John LG says, the math is not mathing. Hit the like button. You are right, John. There's 346 people watching live right now. There's only 227 likes. So I guess some of you don't like the show, which if you don't like it, that's fine. But can you at least hit the like button and pretend like you do? JT writes in, Lazard had to be inspired by the Peter super chat. I'm telling you, if Alan Lazard is competent this year, we give it all to Peter Castro. He revitalized Alan's football career. Had nothing to do with Rodgers being back. Had everything to do with Peter Castro. Snowball says, watch Reddick fire his agent. I'm sure that happens at some point. Right? J-Quest says, I'm trying anyway. Good luck to J-Quest with his hunger strike. Rourke's Drift writes in, what's the statistical impact of not having the 10 sacks that Reddick would have contributed? Probably less than 10, given he's learning zero about this complex scheme. I think we overcomplicate the scheme for a pass rusher. It's actually a simplistic scheme for edge rusher. It's a wide 9. They have their edge rushers. Their job is to get to the quarterback. That's why they rotate so much, to keep them fresh. They hit it hard. That's the scheme. Simplistically, Fialco could talk more about it later when we have him on, but it'd be a big loss. It's not just the sacks, it's the pressures. You also have to account for doubling him, which frees up Jermaine, which maybe frees up Quinnen. Also, Reddick would get doubled a lot in Philly. Well, now you're doubling Quinnen, so then Reddick's getting one-on-one on the outside. Bryce Huff benefited from that more than anyone with his sacks last year. We could try and downplay the Reddick impact. He's a tremendous football player, folks. He is. They could still be a good defense without him, a very good defense. I think to be the best defense in the league, you need Haason Reddick. I think they can be the best defense in the league with Reddick. I think they're one of the 5 best defenses without him. I do. But he's the difference in maybe winning a playoff game at Arrowhead in January or not. Like, that's the type of level of player he could be. This guy's played in the Super Bowl before. He game-ranked the NFC title game. Ask Brock Purdy how his elbow's doing. He was the one who hit him. Kind of want Reddick to get a chance to hit Purdy on Monday Night Football this year, but, I don't know if we're going to get that. We want Brock Purdy to be running for his life. I don't know if we could do that without Reddick.
Is Brock Purdy going to run for his life on the opener? Yeah! Let's go! J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets! Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, look what just happened. A Sprague spree.
I am the master of the Sprague spree. Take this, Jake, you little bitch.
Oh, yeah, baby. Here we go. A 10 spot from William. Shifty's 49ers talk. I guess 49ers fans are getting ready for the Jets week 1. They're tuning into this show. All is well that ends well. Beth Page Chris. D. Odin. NY Cursor. JJ the Jet Plane. King Breeze. Steve K. LX Jet Fan XL. Ray Mirabel. You are all as maniacs. Make sure you thank William. It's just $5 to give someone a channel membership and pay it forward. And it helps support this channel, supports me doing this full time, and obviously supports the channel members who get bonus content, emoji access, priority response in the comments. And oh yeah, every month you get a free super chat. By the way, if you're a channel member, I posted my interview with Herm Edwards when I filled in for Bart Scott and Alan Hahn on ESPN New York on Monday. So if you want to hear Coach Herm's thoughts on the Jets, if you're a channel member, you get it early. It's already up. Check it out. All right, we got time for one more call. We're back in 4 hours with Fialco film review. Week 1 of the Jet preseason, baby. Thomas, you're closing us out today, bud. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Jake? How you doing?
Hey, Thomas.
I'm just thinking about Joe Douglas, and I'm like, he's so good as a general manager, but also so bad at the same time. It's like you look at this team he's created, the 2022 draft class, bringing in Brees and Garrett, Jermaine, and Sauce, some of the best at their positions, and he's created this team, this culture with high character guys, locker room cohesiveness. These are hardworking guys, team players. And, he's found these guys, these hidden gems that they've been able to bring in and develop. And he's done so many good things. But then at the same time, this is a team with so much talent. And you have the whole Zach Wilson thing where last year this was a team that was a great team with so much talent. And we've just wasted the past 2 seasons because we didn't have a quarterback. Last season, Rodgers went down. They had no backup Tim Boyle. That's insane. I always wonder. I look at his college stats. I'm like, how is this guy ever in the league in the first place? And then, they took so long to bring in anybody. If they brought in someone like Simeon earlier, maybe they would have won the playoffs. Maybe they would have won a few of those games that they should have won against the Patriots and Falcons and Raiders, and they could have been a playoff team, but they waited too long. And now this Reddick thing is just such a debacle. It's so unnecessary. And then they get rid of JFM, and it's just a shame because he's made so many good moves that has brought this team so much talent. But then it's these one mistake that's, causes so much drama. Like right now, everything's great. Everything's perfect. And then you got this Reddick situation that's messing everything up. So
it's frustrating, Thomas. It's frustrating because they've been so close to being a playoff team with just average quarterback play these last 2 years. Now you have Rodgers back. You got the backup in place, and you're going to let this stop you from having the best team you've ever put forth on a field in maybe 15 years to really take your chance in an all-in year?
Exactly.
Thomas, appreciate the call, man.
All right. Thanks for taking my call. Have a great day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas checking in. What a chin beard that was, by the way. Well done, Thomas. Excellent. Andrew Kennedy's like, you can't end the show yet, Jake. I got more memberships I want to gift to the people. Let's go.
Money, 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 money.
Andrew, I'll say it. If you do come down from Syracuse for the meetup on Saturday, you better find me because I got several of your drinks covered that night. Thanks for the memberships, my man. Appreciate the support. And so does my channel and every listener who's about to get a membership, like Jat107, Matt Malilo, Sean, John Gilgert, Thomas Doyle. You are all officially as maniacs. Let's go. Hit the like button. Appreciate everyone tuned in today. Fun show. We're back in just a few hours. Fialco film review. You could feel the electricity hours away from it. I mean, we saw the game, but now we get to see it through the eyes of Andrew Fialco. Is there anything better than that? Well, anything better than that you could do with your clothes on? Probably not. That's how strongly I feel about Fialco's film reviews. Nothing like it. Anyway, Lane writes, go Jets, 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 baby. Lane, when I get done with this show, I'm going to jakeasman.com/shop, and I am ordering the Lane Train, a Jake Asman coffee mug. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. All right. Thanks to everyone for the support. We're back in a bit. Appreciate everyone out there. Reminder, RSVP if you're coming Saturday night. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Bonus shows, Discord access, name in the intro. 15% off all the merch in the store and much more. Also, we're looking for sponsors ahead of the season. You guys know the sponsors. My listeners are the best. We always support them. So if your business or brand is interested, shoot me a message and we could talk because this season's going to be epic. AsmanJake@gmail.com. Thank you all for watching. My name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show, and I end this show by saying the following message to the New York Jets.
I hate this team. I hate them. I hate them.
Yet I still love them. Go Jets. I'll talk to you guys soon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time today with Andrew Fialco.
Jets, 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 Jets. You're a degenerate gambler, and you're in your mid-50s. Who bets on the Jets? Have you not learned anything about betting? The Jets are going to come back. No, they're not. They're never going to come back. They're never going to come back.
Hey, Bills Mafia! You're in the wrong stadium, you friggin' a-hole!
You guys football fans? I think the Pats could take the conference this year. I mean, the Dolphins are overrated and the Jets are choke artists.
I wouldn't say that, Mr. Deeds.
Why is that, though?
You own the Jets, Deeds.
I do? Whoa. That sucks.
You think that scares me? I'm not scared of you pansy!
Yeah, I'll put my whole fist through your face, you friggin' a-hole!
Hey, keep moving, you hum!
Who do you want to win?
The goddamn Jets.
Jets!